In 1992, the BBC broadcast a program that reportedly caused children to vomit, grown men to soil themselves, and even sent some pregnant women into early labor. But most disturbingly, it may have also driven one young man to take his own life. It was Halloween night, 1992. Across the UK, people were just returning home and settling in for the evening, many of them flipping through their televisions in search of something spooky to match the occasion, only to stumble upon a rather unexpected program from an even more unlikely source, the BBC. The network was airing a brand new special called Ghostwatch, a bold and experimental broadcast led by renowned BBC presenter Michael Parkinson and a small team of reporters who set out to capture undeniable proof that ghosts were real, and to heighten the suspense, they would attempt to do it live on air. At the time, this was something truly unheard of, especially from the BBC, a network known for its polished reporting and reputation as one of the most trustworthy broadcasters in the country. And making things even more interesting, they weren't going to be doing their investigation at a well-known haunted destination, but rather a simple suburban home. The home was occupied by a single mother and her two daughters, who claimed they were being tormented by a violent, malevolent entity they called Mr. Pipes. The nickname came from the loud, metallic banging noises that echoed throughout the house, which the mother initially dismissed as the home's old plumbing. Her name was Pamela Early, and she lived there with her daughters, Suzanne and Kim. For months, the family had been pleading for help, reaching out to local journalists and reporters, only to be mocked, ignored, or labeled as delusional. And so this was their moment to finally prove to the world that what they were experiencing was in fact real. But as the program got underway, most of the audience watching at home quickly felt the exact opposite way. Inside the house, reporter Sarah Green witnessed little to no activity during the first hour, while Michael Parkinson and a skeptic brought on for commentary grew increasingly unconvinced, suggesting that whatever had been happening in the house before was likely psychological rather than supernatural. And then things got even worse. During one of the supposed disturbances, Sarah caught Suzanne secretly creating the sounds attributed to Mr. Pipes by tapping a hammer against the wall, effectively destroying the family's entire story in a single moment.
Quite extraordinary. We set out to catch a ghost, and sadly, very sadly, what we witnessed was a remarkable exposure of a hoax.
Let's not be too hasty.
Oh, come on, Doctor, please.
It was, by all accounts, a disaster. Yet, just as Ghostwatch seemed ready to collapse entirely, its final hour would take a turn that no one could have anticipated.
Suzanne? Suzanne, are you okay?
It's all right, love. Oh, don't get upset, love. Your mum's here. Oh, dear God. Oh, delusion.
Suddenly, the camera cuts to Suzanne, lying motionless in her bedroom. Her body is covered in deep scratches, and her breathing is shallow and erratic. Panic erupts among the crew, thrusting the broadcast into complete chaos.
Will you stay?
We will stay
with you.
What was that?
Where are we going?
Just outside.
Where are we going?
Come on.
As they rush to help her, loud metallic banging echoes through the house once again. Only this time, every single person in that house was accounted for. And then, in one of the show's most chilling moments, the camera pans to reveal Suzanne hiding behind a couch.
Susie. Stop it! Stop it, Susie!
She suddenly begins speaking in a deep, guttural voice, completely unrecognizable, as though something else were speaking through her. In case you haven't caught on yet, Ghostwatch is a work of fiction. It was not a live paranormal investigation at all, but a meticulously staged, pre-recorded film. Everyone on screen was an actor, except for Michael Parkinson, who was indeed a real BBC presenter, used to make the whole thing look more believable. In fact, the broadcast had even opened with a short disclaimer clearly stating that what viewers were about to see was fictional.
Now on BBC One, Screen One presents an unusual and sometimes disturbing film marking Halloween. Using the modern idiom of the outside broadcast, Michael Parkinson, Sarah Green, Mike Smith and Craig Charles star in Ghostwatch.
But there was just one problem. Most people didn't see that warning. And because the production was designed to mimic the BBC's usual live reporting style, millions of viewers simply took it at face value. They genuinely believed they were watching a horrifying supernatural event unfold in real time. And it didn't stop there. I won't spoil the rest of the movie, but after this point, everything spirals into absolute chaos, culminating in a shocking revelation that through the program, the hosts had inadvertently conducted one massive seance, allowing a demonic entity to escape its confines and spread through the television signal itself to the viewers watching. According to the movie's lore, every single one of the 11 million viewers watching at home was now susceptible to possession. The film ends with Michael Parkinson seemingly overtaken by that same dark force.
When you assure me that my wife is safe,
We
I'll
have
go.
got an emergency generator. Whether or not we can bring it in, I
I'm
don't
not
know.
going.
Autocue's working. Round and round the garden, like a teddy bear.
And then the screen cuts to black and Ghostwatch is over. Within minutes of the broadcast ending, BBC phone lines were flooded with more than 30,000 calls, most of them from horrified, hysterical viewers. People were genuinely terrified, convinced that what they had just seen was real. Even Michael Parkinson's own mother called the studio in panic, fearing that her son had been possessed. To add to the terror, moments later, the BBC's phone lines collapsed under the weight of these never-ending callers. To those already trapped in panic, this wasn't a technical difficulty. They believed Mr. Pipes had done it himself, cutting off their cries for help as revenge for daring to watch the show. The stories that poured in that night were unbelievable. One woman reportedly demanded compensation for a new pair of trousers after her husband quite literally defecated himself out of fear. 2 young boys were later treated by doctors for symptoms resembling post-traumatic stress disorder. But among the millions who watched Ghostwatch that Halloween night, one viewer would take it harder than anyone else. His name was Martin Denham, an 18-year-old from England who watched the broadcast with his parents and younger sister. Throughout the show, Martin's behavior became increasingly strange. He curled into a ball, unresponsive, with his eyes glued to the screen. His family described him as if he had been hypnotized, completely transfixed by what he was seeing. Now, Martin had a mild learning disability that occasionally affected his emotions, but this was something entirely different. After the show ended, he became consumed by paranoia. He began hearing strange noises around the house, loud creaks and bangs his parents insisted were just the water pipes. But to Martin, that explanation only made things worse. It was the same excuse Pamela Early had used on Ghostwatch to explain her own haunting. To him, this was proof that Mr. Pipes had somehow escaped the broadcast and was now inside his home. Over the next few days, his fear spiraled out of control. He refused to sleep in the dark. He begged to switch bedrooms, terrified that the ghost was hiding in his walls. 5 days after Ghostwatch aired, Martin Denham would take his own life. He left behind a single note that read, "Please don't worry. If there are ghosts, I will now be one, and I will always be with you as one." Ghostwatch was created to deliver a horror experience that felt as real as possible, and tragically, it succeeded a little too well. The backlash was immediate and severe. The BBC quickly pulled the program from circulation and banned it from ever airing again in the UK. To this day, it remains one of the most controversial broadcasts in television history, an experiment that blurred the line between fiction and reality so convincingly that it crossed a line no one expected.